And in order to log into your own websites, you type in your website name, which, like if it's a College of Arts and Sciences, you type in CAS, or if it's Robinson, you type in robinson.gsu.edu/WP-admin. And once you type that in, it brings you to a login page where you'll just type in your university ID and password. And once you're logged in, you'll see something very similar to this. This is the main dashboard for WordPress. And you'll see you have like a black bar on the left, on the top, and then just basic information stuff here in the middle and the right. You'll see options over here for like posts, media, pages. You won't see as many options as I have here, but this is where you will access your pages. You can select to open up a list of all the pages, which is what I'm going to do. Same thing for media and posts. Let's open this up and show you what one of these pages looks like. So this is what the main pages section looks like. And pages are like web pages that you would create for your site that the information doesn't change dynamically. You put this information up there, and this is like what people see when they come to like your main website or your About Us page, or your whatever content pages you have up on your site. Posts are things like you would use for like news articles, things that when you create them, they dynamically get created on your page, and like a new article link will get dynamically, just automatically generated for your news pages. So posts are things that you add to like frequently, like a news articles. Pages are stuff that are up there, that the main content of your site. So here I am on pages, and I'm gonna go down to the page, find the page that I'm going to do this all the changes for the session on, all the training. So I'm going to scroll down until I see, my name. I created this page. This is the training page. I'm going to click on it to open it. But before that, if you don't know where your page is on this list, or if you have multiple list pages and a ton of pages to sort through, you can do a search up here. And I could type in training, hit the search page, and pages that have training in the title or in the description of the page will pop up here. Or you can just do like Command F to do a search on your page. And scroll down until it brings you to, here we go, the training page. I'm going to open that up by clicking on it. All right, so this is the back-end editor for pages that you see here. We have a classic mode, which is pretty much just the code for WordPress. I do not recommend anybody ever go into the classic mode editor unless you know exactly what you're doing. And most of the time, even our main web administrators don't know what they're doing with that code, so don't touch it. Stick it instead to the backend editor. We have a front-end editor, which is more in looking like what a live web page looks like. It makes it a little easier to see what sections you want to edit if you just have a small change to make to your page. The problem with the front-end editor is how long it takes to load, and our security system times you out after a certain number of seconds. So if it takes something like a long time to load, like it might not load for me right now. It did, it actually loaded. Amazing. When I'm here on campus and I try to open the front end editor anytime after 10 o'clock, it's a crapshoot. It may not open for you, and you might just have to stick with the back end editor. We're working on this. We're trying to get situated with a new server, which will be a lot faster, and get this up for you. But as you can see here, it just makes it a little easier to edit sections when you can see, put your mouse over what they look like on a live site. and you can like select text block to edit it and just change a word or two if you need to, like this. Um, that is the benefit of it. The some downsides to it, like I said, very slow loading time, and when you save it, very slow savings time as well. So just be aware of that. More than likely, if you're making changes during the middle of the day, you're going to have to use the backend editor, which is what I'm going to spend most of my time working on with you today. So here we are, back to the backend editor. Here is the title of your page. You can always, change it and click on update to change that if you need to. Everything that you see here on the page that you put your mouse over and you get like these options to edit, duplicate, or delete, or move around on the page, everything is called an element. So rows are elements, text blocks are elements, headings are elements, images are elements. In order to add an element to your page, just look for a plus sign. Any place that you see a plus sign on your page, you can add an element to that section. So say if I'm scrolling down here and I want to add just an element here at the bottom of this column here. So this whole section is a row, and within the row we have 2 columns. I'm going to scroll to the bottom of this column, click on the plus sign, and we have all these options appear here. We have rows, we have text blocks, we have images, we have line separators, we have pie charts, we have links to videos, we have headers. It's all a lot, and I understand that when you first come here and you see all the options and even trying to find just the simple option that you want to add here, you may not know where it is right away. That's where this search element comes in handy. So if you want to add a row to this section, if you didn't know that the row is typically in the top left when you open up your elements, you can just type in the search row, and it pops up, first of all, anything with row in the title and anything with row in the description. You can click on that and you get a new row section here. If I wanted to add just a text block, I click on the plus sign and I can go up here to text block, or I can search for text and have a text block, just a basic text block up here. So here we go. I clicked and selected a text block, and it initially just populates it with lorem ipsum. Fill in whatever text you need here. This is very important. If you are copying and pasting in text from another source, especially from another website or another document like email or Microsoft Word, when you add text to your page, when you're pasting it in there, see these tabs over here, visual and text? Make sure you paste it in on the text. This will only copy in the literal text from the email or the Word file or the website you took it from. If you paste it in visual, it might bring in other styles with it, including other fonts or colors for the fonts that are not GSU approved, and they could break your page. So when you're pasting in text, always select the text tab, paste it in, and then you can go back to visual. And once it's in visual, you can add, links to certain parts of your text, or you can bold anything or italicize it or bullet point it. All these options are here for you to use, and they're easier to use in the visual tab. But if you're pasting it in, use the text tab. Very important. All right, so that's how you add, basic things here. I can add an image by going to single image or searching for it up here. Let me cover this before I jump into the next section, because everything to do with images is very important to us right now, as we are, kind of short on storage space within our sites. So if you are ever going to add an image to your page, a single image, you click on it, and this element window appears. Click on here to add an image, and it'll first pop up typically with your media library. These are all the images that you've already added to your site that are already available to you. If you need to upload an image from your desktop, click here, find an image on your desktop. I'm going to click on this one. It's just a barcode for something that we use for homecoming. Here you go. There's the image I uploaded. Whenever you add an image to your site, or whenever you're going to add an image to your page, that even if it's an image that's already appeared in your media library, you need to make sure that it has alt text. This is for two purposes. First and foremost, it's for us to be 508 compliant. That is the Americans with Disabilities Act. Anybody who comes to our website who is visually impaired, they typically have an e-reader, something that'll read the web page to them. And it allows them to skip sections based on headings and jump to other areas of the page. And when it comes to an image, in order to let them know what is being displayed in that image, it needs this alt text. So all you got to do is give a brief description of what is in the image. So you would just say barcode to register for homecoming parade, or whatever it is. And then I would actually put in the URL for what that barcode is, so that that can be used for anyone with an e-reader. You just want to be as specific as possible and spell things correctly, like unlike me. For example, like this. GSU students cheering in crowd. Perfect. That displays, exactly, what is in this image. Georgia State, Atlanta campus. Perfect. Gives them a great idea of what the image is, and it lets them know if it's important to their experience on your web page. So that is one of two very important things you need to do with images. Make sure that they have alt text. The second thing is you want to make sure that those images are the size that they're going to appear on your web page and that they're compressed. So for example, if you are going to, let me go back to the homepage here. If you're going to use an image like this background image for this marquee, this is like the biggest size image we will use on our website. It's like a 1980 by, or 1950 by 1080, so 1950 pixels wide by 1080 pixels in height. You need a large image for the back of the marquee like that. If I was going to use an image that only appeared over here in this column, I would make sure that the image size is only like 600 pixels in width. If I made an image that was like 2000 pixels in width and put it over here in this small little column, first of all, it doesn't need to be that large. Second of all, the file size is going to be enormous for the size of the image on the page. And that takes up a lot of storage space, which we don't like to do. It takes up a lot of bandwidth, and it slows down the user's experience. All of those things are very bad to make the users happy to come to your web page. They don't like things loading slow. They don't like images eating up their bandwidth if they don't need that. So the way around that is, if you have Photoshop, you can compress it and shrink the file to the size that you need in Photoshop. Otherwise, we recommend this free tool called iloveimg.com. And here you can just resize the image to whatever dimensions you need it to be. You can crop images if you need them to be cropped. And then, most importantly, we recommend that you use their compression tool here. This will compress it tremendously while still leaving the image looking very, very sharp and good. It doesn't pixelate it. I don't know how it does as good a job as it does, but it does. Use this tool. So you got to make sure all images have alt text to them, that they're set to the size that they need to be on your page, and that they are compressed. So I guess that's three things you got to make sure that you do, not just two. As an example, no image on your site should really be larger than 300 kilobytes in size, and that should really only be these giant marquee images, and even they should be less than 300 kilobytes. We have had people in the past uploading images that are like 2 megabytes per image, and that is just terrible. It's bad for us, bad for our servers, bad for our users. But if you use this compression tool and you shrink that size down using like the resizer and then you compress it, we've had people compress those 2 MB files down to like 200 kilobytes and still look nice and crisp and sharp. It's amazing. Use it. Don't forget it's there. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. I was adding an image to this page. I'm going to use this image of students cheering in the crowd. This one's a bit smaller, so that's all I need for the size that I need it for on the page. I'm going to now check set image for the page. I made sure it had alt text, and here it is. Now, down here, this is another thing you got to pay attention to when you're adding a single image to your page. The default for adding an image to your page is thumbnail size, which it's really dinky, really tiny. It's like an inch in width. You can either add full dimensions that you want it to be. So if you want it to be like 200 by 100 px, you can do that. Or you can just say full and make it as large as the image can possibly be for the space it's contained in. Or you can make medium, large or full, whatever you want to do to make it look how you need to look on the page. Do that. Just be aware that it will automatically be thumbnail on image load, and that may not be what you want. So I'm making this full, so it takes up the full width of the container it's in. You'll see the image appears here, and then once I make changes, I can go up here and click on update to save those and make those live. Or I can click on preview to see what it looks like before I actually save it and make it live. All right, so that is basic logging in, adding a page. Oh, and you can add a page just by clicking down on the options over here. So you can go to pages and go add new. That'll make a new page. Or at the top of your pages, you can always click on the add new button, and that will generate a brand new blank page for you. So next thing I want to cover is just basic row and column usage. But as you can see here, we have rows and columns throughout the page. The whole page is made up of nothing but rows and columns. Whenever you need to edit something in a row, the option to edit it is over here on the far right, where you can copy the row or delete the row. These are the row options. Or move a row anyplace else on the page. Anytime you see this little icon with arrows pointing to the four corners, whether it be on an element or row or anything else, that means you can drag and drop that any place else on your page. Now, if you move something and you didn't see where it went, or you made a mistake and you needed to go back to where you wanted to, or if you make any kind of editing errors on your page, or you need to revert back to any changes you made prior, we have these options at the top here for undo. See, it just went back to where it was before. And we have redo, which can push it back to where it was. These come in handy a lot. Sometimes I'm moving a whole row and I try to put it in a certain section, or it doesn't go in that section. I dropped it too quickly and I didn't see where it went. Just undo it and it's back to the way it was before. Just keep in mind that these undos and redos are, I think it only allows for 20. So if you do like 20 changes on your page and then you go to 21, you can't go back to that first change that you made. And if you ever save the page, these revert back to blank, and the page thinks, oh, he or she is good to go, and they saved it, so everything is what they want. So just be aware, if you save it, you can't revert anymore until you start making changes again. So this is a row section. And you can make changes to make sure that columns within the row all have equal height. You can set a gap between the columns in the row. We recommend, at least having a 15 pixel. If you have just 2 columns of text, try and make it like a 30 or 35 pixel column gap between those rows. You can have options here for, changing the padding and the margin on your entire row. If you need to make changes to the columns within the row, the column changes are the center options for that column. So for example, here you can see I can edit this column, and I can, go in here, add like a class name to it, or, padding or background color. This is how you add background colors to your rows and your columns. Click on that, and this is where you would add the hex color that I was telling you about on the ComKit website color guidelines. So that's where you would change things for columns. This is where you change them for rows. So keep that in mind.